BeastNet is brought to you by James Safety Services in partnership with OCR Buddy and OCR Strong. Here we discuss all things OCR and fitness related. Welcome to BeastNet.
Hey everybody, it's Mike with BeastNet here, and today I got with me Steve Bacon. Steve, let everyone kind of know who you are.
I am Steve Bacon. I'm an OCR fanatic, fun runner, and the founder of the New England OCR Expo.
Nice. Give us a quick rundown. What is the New England OCR Expo?
So New England OCR Expo is a nonprofit. We started back in 2019. We started planning it. And the initial idea behind it all was when Warrior Dash went out of business. And that stunk. I loved Warrior Dash. A lot of us did.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing an article in the Mud Run Guide that said what the fall of Warrior Dash means for OCR. And what I took from that was you got to support your local races and all the races. You know, you got the big ones, the small ones, the ones in the middle. You got to support them all. And you couple that with, I'd already fallen in love with the community by that point. You know, I'm a veteran, so I love that community. I'm a first responder now, so I love that community. And the OCR community out there, just the way everybody's friendly with each other and helpful with each other, you know, really fell in love with that. So I had an idea initially I want to do something in the off season to get everybody together, because in New England, you know, it's winter, we don't have races. Mm-hmm. But then when Warrior Dash went out of business, I remember reading an article that said support all your races, the small ones, the middle ones, all of them. And I combined those two into an idea for an off-season get-together to highlight some of our local races. And we ended up making some money, which we turned that around and donated to charity because we were a nonprofit. I don't want to make money on this. So that was the first New England OCR Expo. We took a couple of years off after that because of COVID and all the restrictions. We came back in 2023, had it at a bigger country club, vendors, raffles, all this cool stuff. Spartan got involved around that time, and a lot of other races got involved. And it's just grown from there into this. Now this year has really exploded into a really huge event. It's amazing.
That's awesome. I mean, that is really cool. I mean, it's one of those things I think we need to see more of. It's one of those things to me, and like I mentioned before we started recording, Megan, I do a lot with Megan, and we the locals, we need to keep the locals alive. We need to keep those and get the idea, you know, like OCR buddies out there, you know, telling people, hey, these races exist. Otherwise, we don't see them. You know, there's so many, like you said, when Warrior went down, I mean, that was like the one obstacle course my wife would do. That and like Survivor, which is gone. Um, I have so many, like if I go through all my old medals, because I started doing it in like 2012, um, Hell Run, you know, Slime Run, you know, all these random weird ones that I have these medals for. My wife would do those little ones like that, but she was like, no, I ain't doing a Spartan. So it was cool to have that entry level, smaller. You could go have fun, enjoy it, and really get that person into like, oh, hey, this is kind of fun. Maybe I will step into a Spartan, or you know, I'm just gonna stay down here in the Warrior Dashes and you know stuff like that, because it was a step under. It could, you know, people would felt more comfortable doing that, but we're losing those. Those are disappearing. You know, there aren't any more. I can't think of an entry level. It's pretty much you know, Spartan, and then you know you got Tough Mudder and all the other ones, and those aren't in my mind a starter level, and we don't really have that right now. There is no national starter level one that I can think of.
National, no. We still have some good small ones around here up in the Northeast, but trying to do everything we can to put them on a stage and see their numbers grow.
Yeah, keep them going. Which I talked to a lot. I mean, there's War-X, there's a bunch of those other smaller ones, but they're local, you know, local ones. You know, I'm thinking more of you know, like we said, the national. Like that's one problem I have. I moved down here to Texas, and there's not a whole lot down here. I mean, triathlon wise, which for me is great because I've started doing triathlons. Um, there's a lot. I mean, I can do pretty much during the summer. I can do a triathlon every weekend, except for like July and August. They just don't. Because this is Texas. You don't do anything in July and August. So, which is funny because I'm originally from Washington. That's the only time we did anything because that's the only time it was warm enough to get into water. But
And probably
it's
notice
just
that's not
different.
raining.
Yeah. Well, it's probably still raining. It's just warm enough that it's not so too bad. Um, but it's one of those things that, I miss the little ones. And that, that's what, I love the idea of, trying to keep them alive and going.
Yep.
So how do you guys get people involved? Was it just one of those things you came up with the idea, reached out to a few people you knew, and then it just kind of blew up from there?
So the very, very first step that started all of this was, again, I fell in love with the community, and there was people like some people who knew each other, some people who knew each other, some people knew each other. I decided to create, what does everybody do? They create a Facebook group. So I created a Facebook group called the Rhode
Mhm.
Island Obstacle Course Racers. And what I was able to do with that was all of these little pockets of people who knew each other now all knew each other. And there's just was a really great synergistic effect with that whole thing. So, um, and again, after Warrior Dash fell, and I read that article, and it really impacted me. I started having some conversations with some people in the community about this idea. And they're like, "All right, you're going to be the leader, but I'll be part of it." I got a lot of that. So, and I know
Yeah.
Lynn Hall. Lynn Hall is the owner and founder of Boulder Dash Race, which is or was a local race here in Rhode Island. She just retired actually last year, had her final event, which is really a killer for a lot of us around here because that was a race we started with. That was my first race. That was
Yeah.
first race for a lot of Rhode Islanders. So, but I had a conversation with her. I said, I'd like to do this thing, and I want you to be there and talk about your race. And we're gonna, try to make it like a party. We're gonna have food. We're gonna bring in some other assorted trainers, products, stuff like that. We had a city challenge race there that first year. Um, and I was persuasive enough to get enough help to get that first one off the ground. And then after that, it was off the races because it was such a success and such a great time, and everybody loved it so much. I had people coming out of the woodwork like, yeah, let's do this again. So kind of that part was easy from that point on.
That's good. It sounds like you have good support. I mean, that's the hardest thing. I've seen so many times where something like this is a great idea, but then it's like, okay, cool. Yeah, figure it out, you know, and then you don't get the help that you need to keep it going. So I mean, this is something, I mean, from what you're describing is not something that you casually do. Setting
Yeah.
up and getting it ready to go. It sounds like something that's going to take a lot of, time and effort, especially once it's like time to make the event happen.
Yep. And I was on the
So,
hook for that first one because we booked a country club at the time. It seemed like the best idea, like a nice classy setting.
Mhm.
Um, and I personally was on the hook for a big chunk of money. And again, we're not trying to make money, but we got to break even and cover costs, and then hopefully have something to donate after. But going into the event day, I was on the hook for like almost $1,000, and then that completely flipped around during the day with all the people day of registrations and raffle tickets to win all kinds of cool prizes and all that turned around real fast. But now I like to think it's a twofold answer to why we get such a draw for people on our team and to our events is because of the passion, the genuine passion that goes into it. We're not, I'm not knocking businesses, but we're not a business. We're not here to make money. We're just literally here to support and grow the community and OCR overall. And I think when you have a lot of good, strong passion like that, people kind of latch onto it. That was part one. And then part two, I'm retired military. So I kind of put a military style, not coordination, like planning on it, like a structure. We had a team, we had committees and subcommittees. That way we got a lot of help, but not very few people had to do a lot. Each person that wanted to be part of it had one little piece. So that way they could have their lives, their work, their job, their family, and then help this one little piece. And if you get enough of that, you get all these pieces covered, it makes it work.
Yeah, which is amazing. 'Cause that's one thing that you see way too many times. Like I said, is you get that like you start it and then someone helps a little bit here, a little bit there. But if you don't break it down in an organization like you have, you run into that point where people like they end up doing so much this year, they're like, I ain't doing this again. I'm out.
Exactly,
And then you don't
exactly.
get that return help. But when it's
Yep,
just a small piece, and they're like, oh, hey, I only had to spend a couple hours a week, really working on this, and the day of, a little bit because the actual event. But other than that, then they're like, people are more likely to be like, oh, I want to go do that again. It's like you see with the volunteering with, some of the bigger races, where when I first started doing it, you volunteered for 4 to 6 hours and you got a free race. Then all of a sudden it was 8 hours. Then it was 12 hours. And now it's like they can't get volunteers. And it's like, wonder why. You know,
but while we're here, I'm about to do a big shout out to all those who do volunteer at all the different races, because if it wasn't for
yes.
them, you might not have that water at the water station, or that T-shirt at the end. I mean, maybe just grab it out of a box for yourself, I guess. But I mean, volunteers really make it all work. Even us, even for us on
Oh,
event
they do.
day.
I mean, and that's one thing I want to make sure that, yeah.
Sorry.
And I want to make sure people don't think I was like saying, anything bad about the, no, I'm just saying the way that they've been treated
Yeah.
makes people less likely to come back. And I mean,
Yo, yeah.
you have to, most of these companies survive because of the people that come in and volunteer and
Yeah.
help and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I volunteered for a lot of them when I first started, and then it was pretty much, the last couple of years, it's I run with more,
Yeah.
Dealers of Hope, formerly More Heart Than, well, a piece of More Heart Than Scars. So, and that's pretty much I run with them, and that's my form of volunteering now. I'm gonna help people get through it. I've done a race or two with Oscar Mike, just kind of as a like, hey, I'm here if you need me thing, just because More Heart Than Scars wasn't there. But you know, that's my way of volunteering now. It's just like I said, it's I want to help people, and that's what I love about this. I'm when is this expo? Because I'm trying to decide if I want to go
April
to
5th.
New England.
April 5th. We are just under 2 weeks away.
Almost there.
Yeah.
If I wasn't doing an Ironman the next morning, I would definitely go. But I'm doing an Ironman April 6th, so
Nice. All right, we'll get you next year.
yeah, I'm gonna
Actually,
drown. I'm gonna drown.
we already have the date for next year, and this could be the first time I really tell anybody. It will
No,
be. It will be outside the board of
when are we
directors.
looking at for next year?
I'll tell you, because we're going to make sure we have it all. Everybody leaves the event saying, "When's the next one? When's the next one?" Well, this time we're going to have the answer. It is going to be on. I believe it's going to be April 11th. I'm only doubtful because we had some recent back and forth on it, but I'm pretty sure it's the 11th.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna say we think it's the 11th, but everyone just check to make sure. But yeah, I'm gonna have to make it up there next year because, like I said, this year I'm doing a half Ironman. I'm not an Ironman ready yet, but I'm doing a half Ironman April 6th. So
Nice.
we'll s- we'll see how that
So,
goes.
so you mentioned Dealers of Hope and More Heart Than Scars. I mean, I want to point out, now that we have this platform built, and it's literally growing by the day, because we're about to explode in numbers, or we've been, but we now offer that platform. We have a bunch of nonprofits coming in, OCR related or community related. We got Oscar Mike, Operation Enduring Warrior. We got Joey's coming up now. We got Neighborhood Ninjas,
Hmm.
Find Your Bold, a lot of great nonprofits, and they come in for free and set up a table and talk to people about their mission. Adds another really great piece, and they always appreciate the support and the opportunity to meet people and talk.
Which is good. I mean, and I think that's the other thing that's nice having something like this. With Joey going up there and other people from other organizations. I think it gives them a chance. Because sometimes when you're at events, you don't think about because we'll have the tent for Joey and More Heart Than Scars, and now it's Steelers of Hope. Um, we'll have that tent up, But a lot of people don't, when you're done with the race, you're wrecked. Sometimes you're just like, I just want to go to the car. I want to get something to drink and go to the car.
Yeah.
But it'll be nice having an event like that where they can come up and talk to him and say, hey, okay, what is Dealers of Hope? What is this? What is, More Heart Than Sweet? What is all this? What is Oscar Mike? So people have an idea of what it is we're doing. Because I get people
Yep.
all the time. People will see like, I'll be out there if I'm not running with a team, I'll still have my jersey on. They're like, what is that? I'm like, oh, we help, adaptive athletes that, normally wouldn't be able to do a race to get out there and do it, you know. And, same thing like Oscar Mike, they help, the same thing. People who normally wouldn't be able to get through it. So, which is awesome.
Absolutely it
And
is.
now they have that avenue to explain to people, hey, this is what we do, and hopefully get more people to come out and do it. And Spartan and gives us special race codes that we can sell for cheaper to help get money for the organization to be able to get more athletes out to places, get the tools, because
Mhm.
a lot of that stuff is, as with a nonprofit, if you don't get the donations for it, if you want to do it, you're paying out of pocket. And that's one thing a lot of like Oscar Mike and, Dealers of Hope and all that stuff, we pay most of the time to go to these races and do them. We're not getting paid. We're doing it out of the kindness of our heart. So it's,
Yeah.
that way they can use that money to buy more chairs. They can use that money to help the athletes. So I mean, it's cool to be able to have that place, that resource, to be able to talk to people and tell them about it and let them know what's going on.
Yeah.
See, I think
And
you need to
especially for
branch
me,
out, get you.
yeah. And especially for me being a veteran, and getting connected with Oscar Mike and Operation Enduring Warrior. This year we have Clear Path for Veterans coming in. OCR has been a real turning point for a lot of veterans who are struggling. I know Ken and Earl Granville and Joey Decker, Billy Auger, they could tell you story after story of a veteran they dragged out to a race, like kicking and screaming, but man, once they did it, they loved it. They loved the community, they loved the challenge, they loved the teamwork aspect of going through the course with like Oscar Mike, and kind of really reignited a purpose for and some hope for a lot of guys and girls. So really honored to be part of that.
Which is what's so cool about it, because there's um, people don't think about that. A lot of times people are afraid to go out and do it. When you're doing stuff with people who have, you know, different issues, PTSD, or they were injured and they have, you know, whatever, amputations or just even back injuries, or barely walk because of things that they went through, um, or just born a certain way, with more heart than scars. We'll take people doing triathlons with athletes coming up soon, but it's not official yet, so I probably shouldn't say that, but whatever. But
Yeah,
but it's one of those things, you get these people out there and get them to do things. And I've heard so many people talk about how that their mental health, started getting so much better after doing all this stuff, and the teamwork and their camaraderie. And then other people that, um, ex-addicts. I met so many people that were addicted to drugs or alcohol or whatever, and were able to use Spartan in the community, or in general in the community, to kick those and stay clean and start a whole new life that has nothing to do with that stuff. I mean, Don does a lot of episodes where he does, sober Spartans, which is amazing. So, because that's a tough one to beat.
yeah,
So,
that is amazing. And I'm glad we have, I reference these organizations for veterans, but I'm glad we also have organizations like yours, for anybody. So between all of us together, you know, keep chipping away at giving people an alternative, positive, healthy alternative
yeah,
to embrace.
yeah. I mean, it's really a trading one addiction for a racing addiction, but we won't push it, but it's a bad addiction for a good one. You
Yeah,
know, it's
absolutely.
the health. I mean, because then you get out there, you get moving, and that's what a lot of people don't think about. Even with a lot of, mental health and stuff like that. I think if it wasn't for running and, I mean, everything else that I did during COVID, I don't know if I would have come out of COVID on the other side, because it was just that whole suddenly not having people and everything around me all the time. It was really tough. But being
Yeah.
able to run and kind of get that mental health, you know, from running and doing everything else, I mean, really helped. And I mean, that's one of those things, you get people out, you get them moving, you get them feeling
Yeah.
better, you get them that community as we're going through all these. Because I mean, if you've ever seen, I mean, Oscar Mike, you know, Dealers Help, all these different groups, you know, and Operation During Freedom, as they're doing these races, it's not, you know, oh, here's a guy over here, here's a guy over here, it's a cluster. They're all
Hmm.
together. You hit an obstacle, they're helping their teammates over, they're helping anybody who's there. If it looks like someone's struggling, hey, do you need a knee to get over? Do you want a shoulder? You know, hey, I'm gonna, the Spartan kiss where you push them on the butt, but hey, I'm gonna touch you. Is that okay? And most people are like, yeah, just get me over this wall. Cool. You know,
Hmm.
and that's what's amazing about it is, I mean, you see this cluster of people, and sometimes it's even where you get Oscar Mike and During Freedom and everyone's all together because they just kind of
Yeah.
clustered together into one giant mob basically now, and they're helping everybody. And a lot of times too, that's why it takes us longer to get through the race. Isn't because we're slower sometimes. It's because we'll stop at the obstacle and I'll sit there for 5, 10 minutes helping people over because, oh hey, can you help me? Sure, and you're chucking people over. And I mean that's what I love about this community. And I mean having something, I'm really liking the idea of this expo, and like I said, it sound like you should branch this out into some other places, but
I put it out there now and then. Um, I'm not holding any patent on this idea. I've literally put it out there. Anybody in other parts of the country, because I've heard people say, "Oh, I wish we had this where I." Because people come in from all over. They say, "Oh, I wish we had this where I'm from." I'm like, if you wanna, I'll be happy to help anybody out there to not cut and paste in a sense to get it started, but then personalize it
yeah.
on your own. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's one of those things. Any of the listeners, want to do it somewhere else, reach out to Steve. Let's get it
Hmm.
going. Because that was a big thing that, like, when I left the Northwest, left Washington and moved down to Texas, one of the big things that started to be a problem up there, they stopped having OCRs. Nobody was doing. You had the two big ones that came, one in the spring and one in the fall, and then the spring one disappeared, and then it was just the fall. And then amazingly, the two companies started putting them on the same weekends almost, or they were back
Yeah,
to back weekends, or it was a couple of times they actually put them. And you own both brands. Why would you do that? But not gonna say anything. But but they were like back to back, and then they lost one of the venues, and now it's like sounds like they may have lost the other one, and it's like okay, so Washington has even less than what they
yeah,
used to. So, they're losing out. And I mean, they had a huge up there. Their Beast OCR was a huge team
yeah,
of people that were doing these events. And, it's just amazing to me to watch them lose that area. Hopefully they bring more back. But
yeah, for sure. I like to tell. I've met a lot of race owners, big, small, and everything in between, and I like to tell them it's truly not a competition. For most of us, it's not a competition among brands because every brand, every race brand is a different personality, a different experience, and everybody I know loves to go to all of them or as many as possible. Like you had a
mhm,
one experience at a Spartan, another experience at Warrior Dash. Over here, Boulder Dash was a really great, different experience. Different sites, different venues. So it's never really a competition. Um, but yeah, it is better when they coordinate their dates, so you don't have two
yeah,
fall on the same day.
it is. It is, and that was the one thing that got tough in the Northwest is there just seemed to be less and less of them, less and less venues, and I think in a lot of ways that some of the venues stopped doing it altogether. Where I saw Warrior Dash before they disappeared, they'd moved like 3 times. Um, then there's a couple venues that did a couple different, you know, brands there, and then they just kept falling to the wayside, and all of a sudden they were no longer, just gone, and it came to a point where I mean it was pretty much the two big ones, and that was it. Like all the little
Yeah,
ones disappeared, and the ones that were kind of leaning on the edge, COVID just pretty much destroyed
yeah,
them.
yeah.
And
COVID was
that's
rough, and even the ones that
yeah,
survived, it seems like a lot of them are still trying to still crawling back out of it if they haven't already folded.
And that's one of the biggest things is, I mean, I love this sport. I love this. Um, but since COVID, I mean, COVID, you could see it starting to wane a little bit right before COVID, but then COVID just like stuck a dagger in it. And that's the one thing I worry about, is I think the sport's going to take a lull. It's definitely going down right now, but I'm hoping that something's going to happen that somehow it's going to start coming back out the other side soon. But I mean, it's scary to watch a sport and everything that we all love. It's like, what's going to happen in the near future? I mean, like I said, COVID, and a lot of people are still afraid of going to big events like that, and doing stuff like that. I mean, I'll be one to say that there's times, depending on how I feel, I won't do the dunk wall because I'm like, there's so many, I don't need a vaccine. I've been in that water. So, I mean, there's so many germs in that water. Scientists should really test those waters just to find the new germs that nobody's ever heard of.
I don't want to
But
know.
no, for me, it's pretty much one of those ones. If I've done something where I have an open wound, I'm really hesitant about going into that water because I've seen way too many things come back were bad because they've been in that water.
Yeah,
But,
I hear you.
It really depends. Depends on the race. But I mean, I love doing them and I love the crowd. Like I said, I love the people.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's what it's all about.
yeah. So is this a 1 day event? Just the
It is. Yeah. One day,
1 day event?
Saturday, April 5th, noon to 6 p.m. And it's going to go by fast. It is such a fast,
Oh, yeah.
furious day because there's so much to see and do there. From where it came from originally, just a small country club ballroom, now into it's almost a race in itself. Because of the many different aspects of it. First of all, we're having it at a place called Ultimate Obstacles. And if that name for the venue doesn't shut the door right there, the place is amazing. I came to, it's almost like an aircraft hangar size of a building. And on one side, it's all ninja. They have ropes, walls. I mean, it's ninja. It's a ninja gym, but they have ropes and walls and all the typical OCR stuff.
Mhm.
And that's where they're building the 100-meter course, which is patterned after, what they're building towards with the Olympics. And on the other side of the house, it's actually they've got pickleball courts, but we clear the courts, and that's where all the vendors are. We have like 30 vendors this year. All the tables go there. They have this wiffle ball field, it's like an indoor wiffle ball slash kickball slash dodgeball field. It's turf, pretty cool by itself. It has a green monster, because Red Sox out here, but that's where the Deka
Yeah.
Strong is going to be. So we have a 100-meter competition, a Deka Strong competition. This year we're going to have a free kids mini course put together. Neighborhood Ninjas is taking that on. So any kids that come, run through the course, get a medal, kind of, get the feel of it, maybe even spark their love for it too. We have
Mm-hmm.
podiums, raffles. It's just this DJ, food trucks. It just goes on and on and on. A lot of awesome guest speakers.
It sounds like a lot of fun.
It is
Sounds
a
like a
lot of
lot
fun.
of fun.
It is a lot of
It
fun.
does. It sounds like a lot of fun.
You got to get on like hot wires. Like, all right, can I fly? Then fly back from my fly back from
It's
my.
tempting. It's
But
tempting.
Dan McDonald's coming out. Very excited. I know he's
Dan's a good
been
guy.
a big supporter of ours and yours and Oscar Mike. We got
Mm-hmm.
Evan Perperis, Ultra OCR man, strength and speed. He's coming out. He's going to be our keynote speaker. Local Josh Fiore, the first Ultra World Champion. Kelly Sullivan, a 10-year podium champion. A lot of amazing people coming out to be part of it.
It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So how do people, if someone's interested in it, how do they find it, get to it, all that kind of stuff?
So the easiest way, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we're even on TikTok. New England OCR Expo, and then obviously this logo. And all the posts these days, all the posts have, the bottom of every post has a ticketing link.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a twofold ticketing because of the Deka. We don't run or control the Deka. That's between Spartan and the host gym. But there's a Deka site for that. And if somebody signs up for the Deka Strong, they get the expo for free. Just you're already there. If somebody does not want to do the Deka but wants to be part of the expo, it's just $30. But what every single person who walks through that door gets is a free Spartan race, good for anywhere in the country for the rest of this year, up to a Beast. So yeah, pay $30, get a $150, $200 race code. Not bad.
It's not a bad deal at all.
Yeah. We're also going to have the 100-meter course. That's if somebody wants to do that. A couple runs is $20. Basically covers the medals, and we're doing podiums and all that. Yeah. We got
Nice.
Spartan, Tough Mudder, Savage Race, Obstacle Wonderland Race, Natticook Challenge Race are the ones we have lined up that are being part of it this year, to meet the owners, talk to people, or meet someone high up in the organization like Dan. There's a couple more. There's 2 or 3 more that I got people talking to me saying, hey, they're real close. They're real close. I'm like, all right, because we do this, especially for the small races. We do this for free. They get in for free. They get a table for free. Come in and talk about their race, get people signed up, because that's literally the community, and supporting the races is why we do it. The twofold answer there. So
yeah,
it's these small races. We can, that Natticook Challenge, Jim Golisano, he's a longtime Tough Mudder, world's toughest. He joined us last year, had a table, and then last year his event, he's like, dude, I had sold out for the first time ever. Like, yes. Hopefully we had a small part of that, but just getting the name out there, because there's a lot of people who don't know about this race, or or so forth. So that's a big part of our mission. Connect people to people,
which is awesome. I mean, like I said, that's one of the things. It's one thing, like I was saying, like I think it'd be good, like to anybody who's listening would think who could do these in other parts of the country. I mean, get those. We need to do something to try and get these smaller races the exposure. We try and have them on here and do, BeastNet and bring them on here, Warax and some of those other ones, those smaller ones. But I mean, if we don't get them exposure, eventually they're going to end up going under like everybody else. And I mean, it's one of the things we don't want to see. I mean, love to see these races, these smaller races, build up. I mean, just to keep them, so we have other options.
Yeah.
Places to go and have fun.
But we're going to keep trying. Last year, we would have had Rugged Maniac and Bone Frog there. They were lined up to be there, and they folded before it happened.
Yeah. I never got to do Bone Frog, and Rugged I did do a few of. And that was another one that when I saw that one go down, I'm like, oh, I know. What was the other one? It wasn't Bone Frog. There was another frog one.
Battle Frog?
Battle Frog. I never got it. I was so mad. I broke my foot. So my kid took my race. So he got to do Battle Frog, and I was there, but I never got to do it. So I'm like, dang it,
Yeah.
And like I said, there's a whole bunch of other ones. I look at all the medals on my wall, and I'm like, this race will never exist again.
The background I really should show when I do these calls is my photo wall. And I don't want to move my laptop now because I'll never get it back the right way, but it's full of memories and team pictures, and that's all nice. That's good. That's cool. This is better. It's the people, the experience,
I've had that conversation with people before. I mean, you could take every single one of those medals, like burn them, throw them away, whatever, and it doesn't really matter because you can't take away what I have up here. You can't take away the pictures, even just Facebook. I mean, the pictures I have from all the years of doing this, the people I've met, that's what keeps me doing it. I love the medals because it's fun. It's something I can show, say, hey, look at what I did. But at the same time, the medals, they hang in my garage. The only time anyone ever sees them is if I take a picture, they go in my garage to get something because that's where my gym is. But other than that, I mean, that's more, the medals are more for me to say, yeah. But at the same time, those memories, that's what keeps me going and wanting to do this, and mentally, gets me out of the dark spaces.
Yep. I tell people all the time, OCR is like an OCR race is like a metaphor for life. There's hills, there's climbs and drops, there's obstacles around every corner. And your only choice is to go around them, over them, under them, through them. Some way or another, you got to get past that obstacle. And not only that, but unless you're one of those crazy 7 a.m. runners, bowing to the elites, but unless you're one of them, nobody does it alone. Life
Yep.
OCR for most of us is a team sport, and as life is a team sport.
It is, and that's one of the things that I've like I said, kind of keeps me going. Those team things, once I moved down here to Texas, I found a ruck club. I do stuff with them. So when I'm not, doing OCRs, I'm out rucking. We just did what last or 2 weekends ago, we actually did a 15-mile ruck that like made the outline of Texas.
Nice.
So when you look at it from the Strava map, it's
Yeah.
basically Texas. So, which was kind of cool when the guy that sets them up down here, he's like, "Hey, I know this route that we can do that'll do that." And I'm like, "All right." So we went through downtown, but it's cool too because you're walking through downtown Houston. It's like there's places that I've driven down the street, but I've never seen this because you're driving. But when you're walking, these huge, beautiful murals on the sides of the building, and it's like, and you're just walking around with friends, which is so cool. So, and the same thing on Spartan races. It's a nice little walk through the woods with some friends with some things to climb over. And sometimes you get muddy.
Most of the time. But
Most of the
the
time.
rucking is uh we've been doing some rucking ourselves. We did the tough ruck last year, the Boston Marathon route. But I like that rucking has added a new element to OCR. So you see a lot of people out there doing it now, which is that, add a different aspect to it that changes it up a little bit. I'm glad.
I will warn you though, if you're doing some of the obstacles with the ruck pack on, don't forget the ruck pack will throw extra weight. So, because I almost went over the first time because I did Montana a couple years ago, I rucked the whole trifecta weekend because I thought it was a good idea. It wasn't, but I did it. Going over Bender as I was climbing over Bender because I just left the
Ooh.
pack on. And as I went over Bender, I kind of like flung over the top, and the shift when I did that almost kept me going. If I hadn't like locked my one leg into the bars, it probably would have just kept me like spinning right over. So it's like watch out for that extra weight on the back there. But yeah, I've rucked a couple Spartans. It's an interesting. They call it the ruck fecta. Do all three races with a ruck. I've done it once. And like I said, I did it in a weekend, and I'm like, this was not. It was by the time I was like, oh, I'm already here and I have the rock. Might as well just keep going. But so
Do a lot of
definitely
people keep the
interesting.
pack on for the obstacles?
Some do, some don't. And for me, it was just one of those things I didn't even think about it. It was on, and I
Yeah.
was like, whatever. I'm just gonna go for it with it on. I actually have video of it, but luckily, you can't tell too well in the video because I caught it quickly, but I felt it. But it's just one of those things. I'm like, oh, I can do this. Why not? Let's go for it. But there was a couple like slip wall with the rock makes it so much more difficult because you can't get that right angle because you're not balanced right. So there's a few of them that get very interesting with the rock on. But
Yeah, especially for the beasts, I always wear a ruck. Not necessarily for the weight, just for the extra water and stuff, but I always take it off for the obstacles. Always just never thought twice.
yeah,
Drop it on the ground, do the obstacle, then grab it again. But I have to try it.
yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, but I did the whole weekend. I had 20. I only had like 25 pounds in the pack when I did it, but then I had my water in there with it and everything else. So, I mean, it's like this weekend I had 20. Think it was 25 pounds. But then I had my, a 3 liter water in there plus all my extra stuff. So I think it was like 35 pounds for 15 miles. So yeah, but we're just walking through Houston.
Yeah,
Yeah,
first time I rocked really training for the tough rock, I think I was wearing 20 pounds. I thought, oh, this is not so bad. And then you get to mile 8, 9, 10, double digits, like, oh, all right, it starts wearing on you. That's what, it's a challenge kicks
yeah.
in for that.
But there's one that there's There's one we do an insane challenge every year. My buddy Don, who's the like producer of the show, and then a good friend I call my suffer brother Brian. They came up with this thing because during COVID I lost 100 pounds. Just by running and doing everything else, I lost 100 pounds. So they came up with this challenge called the Pretty Mike Challenge, and we do it every year in December around my birthday. And you start with 100 pounds between your ruck and a sandbag or whatever, and you do quarter mile loops, and you do a quarter mile with 100 pounds, and then you drop 10 pounds. Do another quarter mile, drop another 10 pounds. Another quarter mile, dropping. So it works really good on the track. So it ends up coming out that you do a 5K basically, and the last 2 laps, you have nothing because you've dropped all the 100 pounds. But it's an interesting, it's a challenge. That first 3 or 4 loops where you've got like 190, 80 pounds, it's killing. It's rough, but yeah.
I mean, I have to try that. That sounds
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
I keep telling Don he needs to like make a patch for it or something and like have people like do it, but he's never done it. So,
Yeah.
because I've done it, I've done it 4 years. I did it 2 years in Washington, then I've done it 2 years now here in Houston. So,
Yeah.
but it's an
Have you
interesting one. It's definitely a challenge.
have you done the teddy bear crawl?
I actually, in Houston, I was the lead for the teddy bear crawl. So right now I have 600 teddy bears in my garage that I've got to take to the Houston. I'm gonna actually have to find a second hospital because they can't take all 600.
Yeah.
So,
Um, so full disclosure, I'm on the board of directors with Dan and Mark and Brian. Um,
mhm.
and it was Dan who reached out to me last year and said, "Hey, we got something new we're gonna be trying." And you guys, I think you up in the Northeast would be a good one to try to lead one up there. So that's how it all came about, and got to meet Mark and get on part of that mission. And we did the teddy bear crawl in Barry, Mass, the New England Spartan event weekend in Barry in July, and it was awesome. It was fun. We had a lot of people last minute, but a lot of people signed on. People were laughing. They crawled the whole thing, or they didn't crawl. Whatever. It was a grand. That was really awesome. And then
Yeah.
we later on got to take the teddy bears to Hasbro Children's Hospital in Providence, Rhode Island, and that was really, really amazing. So um, the New England OCR Expo is hosting 3 teddy bear crawls this year. We're doing it at the expo, which is going to be a first because usually at the venues. But so Mark Haverland will be
Yeah.
there, and of course Dan will be there. I don't think Brian's going to make it, but I told Mark, I said, all right, you're going to lead this thing, and here's what's going to happen. We're going to shut everything down. We're going to shut down the festival. We're going to shut down the 100 meter. We're going to shut down the Deka, and we're going to get everybody crawling. And you can just lead a Congo line of crawlers. You can go through the Deka, through the 100 meter, up, over, around things if you want. Heck, if it's nice, go outside and go around the building. But it's going to be fun. So I'm looking forward to that. Another
I want to
aspect of it. So, and then we're also
I want to see
hosting.
video of that because that'll be good.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, we'll be recording it for sure. And then Expo, we also have the honor of hosting at Tri-State New York, Bethel Woods, Woodstock. We're doing the Spartan weekend there, the teddy bear crawl, and then again at Barry in the middle of summer. So we get to host a teddy bear trifecta. So it's an amazing thing.
Yeah. No, Houston was really cool. It was a fun one when we did it down here. I mean, we ended up getting a huge,
Yep.
donorship from basically one person, which was awesome. But yeah, like I said, I've got an email back out to the hospital to find out exactly how many they can take. Because I think I don't think they're going to take all 600. So I'm going to have to split that up. But, and I was
That's not a
supposed to
bad
deliver them
problem
this
to have.
Friday, but that's actually been pushed back a little bit. No, it's not. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm gonna find out how many I can give to him, and then make sure. I think it's gonna be next week. I'm gonna go down and deliver them to him. So I'm waiting for an answer back from them on exactly what day it can be. So, but yeah, so which is amazing, and I mean, I love that. It's another thing about OCR. I mean, what other sport would come up with a crazy idea to bear crawl through, whatever, and then make money to raise money to donate teddy bears?
Yep.
In fact, I
It
just
is
ordered
about
because we could. We can get
It's
the
just
teddy
our
bears now,
extension of the
for
community.
yourself. Yeah. No,
The
sorry.
extension of the community, the spirit of giving.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can't wait. I already ordered the teddy bears, the 2 different ones that we can get, so I can put them in my office. I want to put them in a place so you can see them when I'm doing this. I mean, I've got the cups right over there. I've got the trifecta, which my wife still doesn't know I won that, but well, won it in a bidding. I was trying to jack up the bidding, and then all of a sudden, no one beat me, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be in trouble.
I use secret safe with me.
So, so yeah, so I love, I mean, it's just, I love Teddy Bear Crawl because I mean, it's such a great thing, and think that's awesome that you're going to do it there at the expo. So, so what other things you got going on? Anything else at the expo or anything else you want to tell everyone?
Oh, let's see. We're going to be giving away over $50,000 in race codes, prizes, and all kinds of other stuff. We've got free obstacle clinics going on. We're gonna have a rope climb clinic. We have SGX coaches on our team. They're gonna do a rope climb clinic, walls clinic, both straight wall and the inverted wall, and the warped wall, she's calling it. I think that's the the one at the end of a ninja course, but they have it, so
Yep,
maybe only a matter of time before you start seeing more
they
of
have
that
it.
out
Might as well do
there.
it.
Yeah. Let's see, we got the speakers. We got a massage table as people could be getting free massages. We got ice bath people. Um, it just goes on and on and on. It's to the point where you can almost get just lost in all the different things and miss something. So, but a fun thing that we do is we make this passport card, and the passport card has the logo of every table on it. So when the guest comes in, they get the passport card, and now it's a hunt. They got to get every one of their boxes checked off, because then they turn that completed passport in, and then they get raffle tickets to win all these prizes. So it's just another fun element for the people. And then this year, we're also implementing a table champion award. So at the bottom of that passport card, it's going to say favorite table. And I've already told the vendors and sponsors, I said, they got whatever criteria they choose, the most colorful or the most fun or the best discount or whatever, write it in, and we got this big plaque we're gonna give away at the end there. So we just keep finding ways to add layers to it. Because we never want to, as good as an event is, we always want to see what can we add to it or what can we do better, or with the end result being people walk out.
What can make it better? What can get people there?
Yeah, and people walk out of there just feeling either invigorated about OCR and want to try it, or reinvigorated after a long winter, maybe reinvigorated to excited to get out there and get on the course with their friends and family, and it's just really what it's all about.
Yeah, which is awesome. All right, well, unless you got anything else you want to say, I think that's, we're coming up on time, so I'll make sure that all of the links, for your Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff is in the show notes so people can find it, and we'll get this out quickly. So,
Awesome.
because it's coming up quick. All right.
We appreciate it. We'll get you on our podcast.
Yeah, anytime. Let me know. I'd love to. So.
I don't do it. I have a host for that. Our MC, he's Rob Foster. He's a great guy, so he does a lot of this stuff.
Yeah,
we'll get you.
Yeah, let me know.
Scheduled.
Right on. Sounds good. All right. Perfect. Well, thank you, and it's nice meeting you, and I hope to meet you in person soon.
Thank you.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Thanks for listening to the BeastNet podcast. If you haven't done it yet, find us on Facebook, like and share the podcast. Give us a review on iTunes or Spotify. All these things will help to expand the show in the future. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear.